The final is now confirmed. It will be New Zealand taking on Fiji in what promises to be an extremely exciting and physical Hong Kong Sevens final. Both of these sides doing extremely well up till this point in the competition, actually both sitting 5 wins from 5, but someone will be handed the defeat and the other will be walking away as Hong Kong champions. In this preview, we will be looking through our previous fixtures, key players to watch out for, and then our prediction at the end for who we think will be taken out this final. But first of all, Fiji, they started off beating the Samoans, the Canadians, and also the Argentines. Close games in the one up against Samoa and the one up against Argentina, but in the Canadian game, they were able to win 40 points to 7. Quite a comfortable victory for Fiji in that game. Then they had a close quarterfinal up against the Blitzboks, 10 points to 7, narrowly getting themselves the victory to move on to the semi-finals, where they did face up against Great Britain. And Great Britain, they played extremely well throughout that match. They played that well, in fact, that we went to golden point time in that matchup. It was sitting 14-all between the two sides when the final siren sounded, so they did have to play a little bit longer. First team to score any points during that extra time were going to be the winners, and Fiji were able to do just that. Only just, I will mention, it was almost, the man who scored it almost went a little bit too far just in the field of play, and the Fijians confirmed their spot in the final up against the Kiwis. Speaking of the Kiwis, they went 3 from 3 in their pool stages, beating Kenya 29 points to 5, South Africa 12 points to 7, and also the Irish, they were able to defeat them 26 points to the 7. Then in their quarterfinal, a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people would have anticipated this game between New Zealand and Argentina. New Zealand winning it 24 points to 10. Then a close game up against the French in the semi-finals saw New Zealand winning 12 points to 7. So there's one thing in common between New Zealand and Fiji. They've had a lot of close games in Hong Kong, but every time that it's been a close game, they've still been able to get themselves over the line and get themselves the win, which is why this final, if it goes down to the wire, if both sides are right in it for the full match, could easily go either way. And I think that is what makes it so exciting. But now looking through at the key players for both of these sides, looking at New Zealand, their last game up against the French, we did see 2 try scorers, Lewis Ormond and Rohi McGarvey-Black. Now, Rohi McGarvey-Black, the first of my 3 key players to watch out for. He was very impressive, one of the more experienced men in that New Zealand 7 side, but he was doing very well, had a couple chances of almost setting up an assist throughout that game up against the French as well. Then the next player that I am looking at is Akulio Rokalisoa. I have gone with him the whole way through the competition. But with the skills that he does have and the endless ability, it's pretty easy to see why we would be going with him as one to watch. Then for the last player, didn't see too much of him in that game up against France. He had a couple decent runs, but nothing too drastic, which is why in this game up against Fiji, we're going to see him be physical. We're going to see him break the line a couple times, and that is Leroy Carter. Last of the 3 names to watch out for in this New Zealand side. Then for the Fijians, it was a tricky decision to pick my 3rd option because so many players for Fiji have been stepping up at different times throughout this Hong Kong Sevens. First name, though, easy enough, Josefa Talatholo. He has been playing extremely well, getting assists for his side. He actually got 2 in the last game up against Great Britain. And the good news about him is he doesn't mind that he's only getting the assist rather than the try. He's thinking of it as the team try rather than one for himself. So that is why he's number 1 on my list of key players. Number 2 is Viva Nadovalo. And he was one of those try scorers who received a Talatholo offload throughout that GB game. Able to get himself the try in the 9th minute, just in the start of the second half. And Nadovalo, I think throughout this whole competition, probably one of the more underrated Fijian players who are out there on the field. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with him off the bench in this game up against New Zealand, just to add that little bit more in the second half. But either way, it's going to be one that you certainly do not want to miss seeing in action. And then the last name, I've gone with Bukayaro. I've gone with my Samoa. I believe I have gone with Nathungu as well. But this time, I'm going to go with him once again, Napoleone Balatha. He did score a very important try in a game not too long ago. It wasn't Great Britain, it was the game prior, but he seems to just have that explosiveness off the bench to be able to create some real opportunities for Fiji, which up against New Zealand, we've seen from that last game that did just take place between South Africa and Argentina, sometimes chances are hard to come by. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but it has been pouring down with rain in Hong Kong, which means that the Fijian offload game may be limited due to the wet conditions, which does heavily favour New Zealand. But Fiji, with someone like a Balatha coming off the bench, I feel like they won't be too worried because they know that he's got the ability to create a move and get them on the front foot. But those are the 3 Kiwis and the 3 Fijians to look out for in this contest. Now we are up to the prediction. Now, looking at past records in Hong Kong, Fiji have played 41 matches. They have only lost 1. So to say that New Zealand would come in as underdogs for this game may be a bit of an understatement. And yes, the Kiwis are sitting top of the bunch when it comes to the Rugby Sevens overall standings. But this game, I feel like it's about as big as it's going to get for the Sevens this year, because it's a team that's had a brilliant winning streak at this location up against a Kiwi side who have been getting themselves victories over big sides, getting themselves points on the table. But can they beat Fiji? In wet conditions, I would say New Zealand. It definitely favours them, like I mentioned, but I'm still going to say Fiji going to be that little bit too strong, and I will say that they do win this game 26 points to 19. I think it's going to be a high-scoring one with the rain falling. It might stop the players from doing anything too fancy or risky, which is why I think just structured rugby-wise, we're going to see a lot of tries being put on the board, and I cannot wait to see who does get the victory. But do let me know in the comments down below who you think will be winning this matchup, and also who you think will get man of the match in this exciting Hong Kong Sevens final. But we will be doing the commentary on the Kiwi Lads channel, so be sure to check that out. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, sure leave a like and subscribe. I will see you all for the next one.